Hello all! In this video I'm going to check this Sega Mega Drive. It's working, except that it seems to be flaky on the cartridge connector, so you need to try it several times. And the power connector also is, oh, you see, not power, but I wiggle with it and it powers on and loads games. Some other games doesn't seem to load properly, so what I'm going to do is open it, check the internals, see if there is any solder joint that needs checking or something like that on the cartridge slot, and clean the power switch. Now that it's open, we can see there is an immense amount of dirt as well as oxide. So I will use a soft file to file this oxide here. I will use alcohol and compressed air to get out of the dirt. I will put some contact cleaning on the power switch that's clearly oxidized as well. You can see here. But that dirt and humidity has oxidized it, so there's rust everywhere and more dirt. But as for the components, they look pretty okay. See the processor, the memory. It seems here that should not affect anything. And there's a factory installed patch there. As for the cartridge slot, it doesn't look like there's much of a problem. It's still flaky, so I will check all the continuity and all the traces, clean them with alcohol and compressed air as well, and see if there's any of them bent inwards, so not making proper contact all times. That happens in this kind of slot. And I will also change the thermal paste on the transistors here, because that thermal paste is more than 30 years old, so it's convenient to change it. we look here under the microscope, we can see that besides a certain amount of dirt, it's also like the on certain pins of the cartridge connector, but not on all of them. They are not as inside. This should be almost like touching, but not touching when there is no cartridge, and some of them have higher separation than others. So maybe that's why the cartridge is a little flaky. The solder joints, we can see here under the microscope, the solder joints look pretty okay. Let's see if I can focus them. Some of them not so, but most of them look pretty okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh the solder of them anyway, and also try to bend inward some of the connectors on the cartridge itself, and let's see how it goes. I have already cleaned the contacts of the power switch with the contact cleaner and has got a lot of dirt out of it. Let's see if we can focus on it. Still obviously has a lot of rust inside and so on, so I've done as much as I could. This is the EMI shield before sanding down. This is the result after sanding the rust down. The reason I prefer to sand the rust is because the rust is porous, contrary to the whole metal, and that porosity becomes humidity, and that humidity becomes more rust, and if the rust comes to the PCB and start to rust the cover, then we have a problem. So it's better to remove this rust so it isn't so porous anymore, and then it has less chance to become humid. I'm also going to look at this game and this gamepad. This gamepad I got in a second-hand shop and it was not working, and this game it works sometimes and sometimes doesn't, so I think maybe it has some rust on the contacts. And about the gamepad, the turbo buttons work, the start button works, the D-pad works, but the face buttons do not work. So I don't think it's something about cabling, maybe just dirt or something like that that's preventing good contact on the buttons. Now let's see if it works at first try. And it does. Now for the gamepad. checking, it looks like it works. It's not broken. It doesn't seem that there is a problem. I don't think there is a problem with the TTL chip. If there will be, it's a normal TTL chip. It's a 74HC157 AP, so that should be easy to replace. But the chip is more like controlling the switches, the turbo and so on. But before I started cleaning it, I saw that it wasn't working at all, so these were not going in contact. We can see now that the copper is slightly disappeared from here due to rust and dust, but it should still be conductive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some contact cleaner on the turbo switches, clean the PCB with alcohol, and I will put the plastics and the buttons and the carbon pads inside an ultrasonic cleaner, and I think that should fix it. If it doesn't fix it, then the next step I will unsolder the TTL chip and test it separately, but I really don't think the TTL chip has anything to do. It's also a 555, since that the 555 is everywhere. But yeah, because everything is working, so the turbo is working, so were just those 3 face buttons that weren't working. I don't like the solder joints, but I don't think there are problems either. They're just ugly, but I will leave them as is if everything works. Cleaning is finished. This is how it looks right now, and I think it should be working. Let's try it. If I press A, jumps, B, jumps, C, jumps. On turbo, auto turbo on A, on turbo, oh, not connected, okay. This is slightly, okay, now, on turbo, auto turbo, this as well. Now start is working. Up. The right is slightly hard, but I've checked it and it's because of the design of this gamepad that is like in reverse. Left is working, down is working. So now the gamepad is working. So my next step will be to clean all my original games, like Comic Zone, Virtua Fighter 2, and this Beavis and Butthead from the USA, from the Genesis. Virtua Fighter 2 is the only one I've got to be able to boot, and only occasionally. And both the Beavis and Butthead and the Comic Zone has the pinouts on the cartridge. They are like corroded, so I will have to clean them up. Also, I got from AliExpress this no brand cartridge that has an integrated SD slot. So if we put it here, it allows to load ROMs from the SD card. So for example, even Game Gear ROMs. I'm going to load here Aladdin. It detects the Game Gear ROM as Master System because the Game Gear is basically a portable Master System with an integrated screen. Hardware-wise, it's the same. And why the Mega Drive or Genesis can run Master System and Game Gear games is because they contain all the circuitry from those old consoles. The CPU from the Master System and the Game Gear was the Z80, Zilog Z80. And on the Mega Drive, that's used for as a sound controller, so basically it can be set as the master. It seems that there is a problem with the palette on this game. Probably because it's using a Master System palette or something. It's not correct. I'm going to try another Game Game Gear game. Game Gear, let's try TSSQ. Now this looks more proper. So the start button in the Master System and the Game Gear is more like the pause button. So the cartridge has a physical pause button here. I can press up. Start. I'm not exactly sure if this is the palette from Chase's Q, but it looks correct to me, so I think so. Here it is, a Game Gear game working. It can also load obviously Master System games because it considers that the Game Gear games are from Master System. So let's load Miracle World. Very typical Master System game, and then it started being integrated in the Master System 2 revisions. So Alex Kidd in Miracle World. Or Mega Drive games. Aladdin here. Now how it works, it seems that it has some kind of integrated flash and it's reading from the SD card, erasing the flash and writing on the flash. This means that it has a maximum lifespan. So after maybe 1000 or 100,000, it depends on the quality of the flash they're using, times you change the game, it's just going to break completely. It's just going to not work anymore. But it's quite cheap on AliExpress. I think it was something like 15 euros or something like that, much cheaper than other solutions like the EverDrive, I think it's called. That's the same word, probably it's better hardware, surely it's better hardware, but it will also be limited if it's not loading directly from the SD card, because that's not something possible with the architecture. The flash has a time span, and when you bound to the flash more times than the time span, the flash just stopped working. So here is Aladdin from the Genesis or from the Mega Drive, working from the AliExpress SD card adapter, to call it so. Also, I wanted to try another two types of games. So there's the Pico. Pico was a educational console created by Sega, with a hardware more or less similar to the Mega Drive, but not exactly the same. I saw only once a Pico Man live in a shop, and it wasn't plugged to anything, so I don't really know how this is going to work. It detects the ROM time of Mega Drive. Since it's booting. And that's all. It doesn't work properly. Maybe the Pico has some hardware that the Mega Drive doesn't, and even if it's booting, it's not working properly. And the other type of ROM I'm going to try is the SG-1000. That's the predecessor to the Master System, launching in Japan and Australia, and don't think it was launched in Europe. It says here Europe, but looking at the list of published games, there are like 2 games of all the collection of games that has Europe, while most of them has Japan and 90% of them has Australia. So I'm just going to load it. The text says a Sega Master System, because there's the predecessor to the Sega Master System, more or less similar hardware. But again, it's not working because it's not exactly the same hardware, so probably it's trying to access some hardware that doesn't exist on the Mega Drive anymore. And this is it. This is all for the video now. Let's say now I'm going to proceed to clean my cartridge, and also I have a Sega Mega CD version 2 that was included with the console. I have not yet tried. I'll have to try it, and we'll record a video with the things I do to it, if the success or failure of the Mega CD. I hope that the laser is not burned out, because that will probably make the unit useless. I'm not sure if this cartridge allows if you have a Mega CD connected to load a Mega CD game. Most probably not. Also, I'm not sure if you have a 32x extension connected, allows you to load the 32x cartridge from the SD card. That's more probably it does, not for sure, but it's a possibility. So thanks for watching, and I hope you like this video. So if you want more videos, please subscribe, click the bell icon so you get notified, and see you in the next video. Bye.